Resilience Radio.
Oceanside's most wanted evening show every Thursday, 4:30 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. What's going on, y'all? This is Larry with Resilience Radio. I'm with my boy Tony. I'm with the drama queen, Julianne. And over here, I got my girl Jamie and Big Tim just stepped in the building, y'all.
Ain't nothing big about me, man.
Ain't nothing big about you? Check.
Hey, the microphones ain't working.
Again. What's wrong with this thing, Chris? It's always a Chris issue.
Ooh, it's Chris's fault.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Ooh.
All right. We was on. I don't need this thing anyway.
Can I have him there?
Amen. Praise the Lord, everybody.
Pastor Larry.
DJ Pastor.
All right. We do got another topic. What is this? This school shooting that just took place today. Where is that?
Santa Clarita.
Santa Clarita. Santa Clarita. That sounds like one of them old black folks back on the plantation named Clarita.
Oh my God.
Clarita.
No, you didn't.
That's not funny.
Clarita.
Tell my people.
That's a trap, because if they laugh,
It's racist.
It's racist.
But if we don't laugh, then we're not
Right, it's all set up. It's all set up. But you be talking too much.
That's why I didn't laugh.
If you're gonna talk, I'm gonna need you to get in the camera and on the mic.
Yeah, scoot on
You know what I'm
over to
saying?
the table.
are you talking to me?
Yeah, we talking to you.
No, the person behind me.
If you go
Yeah.
The person behind me, though, you see him?
Here. You guys can
Now you
share-
got to
share
make sure
it.
you're speaking that mic for the viewers, man.
For the viewers or the listeners?
And for the listeners and the viewers, because this is recorded. It's recorded
Oh, yeah,
live, and then
and
so I'm gonna need you to be in that microphone.
And we need you to make sure your ringer is off, because every time you in here, that ringer be.
Yeah, and off of your phone,
Jamie, I know
man.
you are not
know what I'm
talking.
saying?
First of
Your
all,
wife
mine's
know
on
where
my
you
list.
is. She ain't studying you right now. She on vacation right now. The next 2.5 hours, she free. Clarita!
Stupid. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? Why are you laughing?
Yeah,
What's wrong with you,
Tony's
Tony?
today. Yeah, Tony over there trying to just instigate.
I'm not instigating, I'm starting something. Ooh.
That's the
It's
same.
the same thing.
Yeah.
No.
Come on now, Riddle.
Help him, help
Well,
please.
I can't help him with that one. I guess that's why we got to talk about these schools today.
So I was pulling up the article just to. I know I heard about it. And you know it's sad. It's sad first and foremost, but
6 kids.
Died?
No, shot 2 died.
6 kids got shot.
One
3
died.
died.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
3
because the shooter shot himself.
Oh, okay. So that's crazy. The first thing, like,
He
why
shot
don't they
himself and killed
include?
himself?
Yeah, shot himself in the head.
Why don't they include that? in
Wait, no, I heard the
when they
police
say-
shot him.
No, I
There's
heard
different
police
things
shot.
going on.
No, he shot himself. He shot himself in the head. They found him alive. He died at the hospital. One of the kids that he shot, I believe it was a 14-year-old.
A 15-year-old girl, 14. Oh, I'm sorry. The 2 students that died, a 16-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy, died after being taken to the hospital.
A 16-year-old?
A 16-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy, and then a 14-year-old girl, 14-year-old boy, and 15-year-old girl were treated for injuries. That's not including the shooter.
You know, all joking aside, it's a very sad moment.
Yeah.
And my condolences to the family.
Yeah, for real.
And definitely praying for our youngsters, man, and praying for those families that just lost. Nobody conceives children to allow their children to go before them. And that's just that hits me. That hits me in the heart, man. That's why we do shows like this. You know, that's why we do resilience, because our hearts go out to kids such as the shooter. You know, the mentality of his. It's unclear. I don't know. I haven't heard or read any articles about why he did what he did. But you know, sometimes history shows why these kids do what they do, and a lot of the times it's a lot of depression, bullying.
Neglect, abuse.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, one of the things I first look at is what's going on in the home. Not necessarily school, but what's going on in the home, where, let's just say, because we don't have any facts about why he did what he did. But let's just say, because history says that sometimes these incidents has happened because kids have been bullied at school. They get tired of being bullied, and then they take matters into their own hands, right? Some, majority of the time, it's just hate. It's just, some of the stuff be hate, you know. But I question why children that are being bullied at school can't go home and tell their parents what's going on with them at school.
I think that in a lot of cases, I think a lot of kids do. It's just that these days, it's like, just say for instance, if your son came to you at home and said, "Pops, they bullying me at school,"
Right.
what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? And then what is your son gonna say and do? And then when he goes back to school, what is he gonna say and do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think in a lot of cases the kids, they share, and it falls on the parents to act. They act. The teachers don't respond the way that the parents want. Their hands is tied, and they tell them, "Hey," they put their hands on you, or just for example, they put their hands on you, and you go ahead and go the distance you have to. But some kids ain't gonna fight these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if it continues to happen. But I think it's a toss up between both. I think there are a lot of kids that do share with their parents, and I think in each culture is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think African Americans may share different than Caucasians or white people or Hispanics. You know what I'm saying? And the responses are going to be different as far as how to handle it. You know what I'm saying?
I remember being in high school, my 9th grade year. I did not grow up in a predominantly black area. I grew up in the city of Vista, but where my house was in the back of it was pretty much in the heart of a Mexican neighborhood. Only thing that really drew me out of the hood was that we lived in houses. But I went to Vista High School, which meant I had to walk home. I had to walk to school and walk home, which means that to get there, I got to walk through the heart of the neighborhood. You know, walking up Los Angeles Street, up Santa Fe, all the way to you get to Bobeer, and back in my day, there was a big field across the street from it. Now they got a State of Brothers and all kind of stuff. Or you walk, then the Jack in the Box, right, or you walk past the 7-Eleven. Either way, if you was black, you was getting jumped on. Typically because of the black gangs that was going on, stuff that was going on in Oceanside. It was immigrated into the city of Vista. I remember the Valley. D Valley Crips was getting into it a lot with the Vista homeboys and stuff like that. It just became a black on Mexican war. That's what it was. But I remember being bullied in high school. I remember being bullied, and I remember walking to school getting jumped on, not because I was a gang member, but because I was black. People from different neighborhoods that did attend Vista High School, whenever they saw me getting jumped on, they came to help me. The thing is that a lot of these black guys that helped me was gangbangers. And what would typically happen is, if they came and helped me, if I saw them getting jumped on, naturally I gravitated to the ones that helped me. And now I'm associated to them. You ain't just black no more. You from wherever these dudes was from. And that's how I really got involved with gangs. I didn't grow up wanting to be no gang member. I was kind of pushed there. I say that to say, I didn't feel safe to go home and talk to my parents about what was going on with me and high school. Typically, because of the culture I was raised up in. It was a good point Tim brought up, because the culture I lived in, I was, being a black teenager in the area that we was in, you don't go home, or you're not taught to go home and say what the struggles is on the street. You learn to cope with it. You learn to address it on your own. You learn to man up. And you don't tell your mama what somebody else is doing to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's what you're taught from your peers.
Your mom's just gonna be like something new.
Well, no, my mama would have did what my peers expect me to do. You whooping on my, she ain't coming to the principal's office talking about, she coming to the 7-Eleven.
I guess it's crazy. It says that he got a .45 caliber handgun from his backpack and opened fire on other students. It was his 16th birthday.
And it took 16 seconds. They said the whole shooting happened in 16
Yeah.
seconds.
So
16
he took his own life
He timed it.
on his birthday.
on his 16th birthday.
It only took 16 seconds.
And it's crazy. That's just crazy. Like, I think it's crazy for multiple reasons, but just to show like how quick it can shift. They said there's video. There's video of it, which there's always video of everything nowadays. But just how quick things shift. Like, and you know, just the same as you said, parents don't have children to bury them one day. They also don't, like, we live in a world now where this is so common. Like, you don't send your kid to school to even worry about if they're gonna make it home at the end of the day. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
that you don't have to worry about that. Like, school was supposed to be a safe place. It's supposed to be a place to go. Like, kids can't even, we wonder why kids are making certain decisions they're making, and lack of education is a huge part of that, I believe. And you can't even focus on your education.
Right.
You worried about getting shot at school, dying at school. You worried about getting jumped on your way to school. Like, how do you focus?
Well, that's just it. Like, I started failing in the 9th grade. I did pretty well in school. I wasn't no, straight A student or nothing, but I wasn't the kid that got F's and D's. I got a couple of C's, and especially when it came to math and stuff like that. But I wasn't a stupid kid. But when I hit 9th grade, my grades failed. I think the only thing that I got an A in was PE. Right? But it was because of the situation that I was in, and the nature of the school that I was at was predominantly Hispanic. It was only a handful of blacks, right? And then you got to be honest. There's those blacks that they not with the culture. They're not with the movement. And it's not that some blacks grow up in the culture or the movement trying to be gangbanger. They just naturally fit. We listen to rap music, and then you had the blacks that listen to rock, and they dress like they listen to rock. And I mean, to keep people off me, I got to change my dress code, and that's wasn't hip.
And you're gonna still have a whole nother set of problems being that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I was in the class, and I was the only black in my first period class, and I can remember Hispanics coming into the class, 6, 7 of them. And I'm the only one, and I just got done fighting. Then they getting up, sharpening pencils, and where do you think my mind is? It definitely ain't on no doggone social studies.
Right, it's not on your studies, it's not on that, and not to even mention, that's one area of struggles that I feel like the youth are dealing with. That's not to mention, like, if you, not to get too off subject, but if you have problems at home with your parents, if you're hungry, like, how do you focus on school if you're hungry? Like, you can't focus, and you wake up and you don't even have breakfast, you don't know if you're gonna have lunch. Like, you're worried about getting from one class to the next class. You're worried about, does somebody got a gun in their bag? Like, that's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy.
Now, you two go to the same school, same high school, Ditmar.
Don't say it so enthusiastic.
This Ditmar. And to be honest, Ditmar is right now the most probably unique school in Oceanside.
It's definitely a unique school.
There's no other school like it.
No.
Because I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess it's not blatant like it is. Oceanside, Ditmar have right now. There's 2 different schools on one campus. But it's like 3 because it's an elementary school, middle school.
So it's basically preschool to 12th grade.
Yeah.
I just found that out.
But it's like different schools. It's Ocean Shores, then Claire Bergener, and the actual Ditmar Elementary School.
Now, Tim, what's the demographics
I
between
was just saying.
Ocean Shores and Claire Bergman?
Their rivalry schools, like.
Nah, it's just their programs that are different.
Well, what's as far as the society of those schools?
Wait, what'd you say?
One's known for one neighborhood and the other's
That's
known
one for the other neighborhood.
That's what she just said.
She just said the rivalry schools, making it sound like it was like the school.
Like the schools, yeah, the school names. Like I know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like Pirates against Wildcats, but like
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's
And-
like 2
and for-
neighborhoods in one school.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, like Ocean Shores or Claire Bergner, the dynamics behind that is they're considered secondary education schools. So, like I went to Ocean Shores in high school. I went there
Well,
because
next year it's going to be a regular school.
yeah, it'll be.
Wait,
but
it
I'm just
is?
saying
No,
that's
next year Ditmar.
Ditmar will be
The
Ditmar
actual
High School.
Ditmar
There ain't no
High
continuation school. It ain't
It'll
no
just be a
So there's,
secondary.
wait,
First
so
year.
there's not going to be Claire Bergener? Like
No.
I'm gonna have to go the whole day?
it's gonna.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
No, what?
they're gonna have they're gonna
They're
adjust.
integrating it.
But but it's going to still be that unique type of school
Yeah.
where the program is really going to increase. It's going to be stuff that really
No other school in the county.
right. They're getting ready to pioneer a new movement at Oceanside. I believe in
Wait, what?
Ditmar right now, and the direction that they're going with it, I think is going to be a great thing.
I mean, like yes and like no. Like even right now, the Ocean Shore and Claire Bergener, we get out like our breaks are different times. And
She
then,
worried about how long she got to go to school. She not worried
No,
about
like-
anything but that.
like yeah, but like that's not what I guess yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was trying to say. Never mind.
From our
I'm
perspective-
wrong.
Yeah, you mad that you ain't going to be able to go to one period and go home.
Well, cause I have stuff to do. Like I already got so used to that. Like
Right.
in Oceanside High, like I had a job, but like I would say like I'm part time. But now I'm trying to get a job full time because I only go to school 2 days a week for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's gonna change.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna happen next year.
What?
So get ready for that, but
So
just
sorry.
also be prepared to embrace opportunities. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like you're gonna
What's the
have.
opportunity?
You gonna have
What the heck?
all depending on what you want. You know what I'm saying? Job opportunities you'll be able to seek out through Ditmar High School.
But
All kinds of different
I could already
opportunities.
find
jobs.
You very much
Are they
can.
gonna be job? This is getting off subject a little bit, but are they gonna be job? Yeah, you could find a job. We can all find a job, right? Like we can go to Walmart and get a job, but as far as like furthering your education and really putting focus in your education, can you get a job that you're passionate about, that you're not going to want to quit in 2 years, a job that's going to turn into a career, or are you thinking like short term of like, well, I got a job just to get this paycheck, or are you actually thinking like career wise?
I'm pretty sure everyone in high school is thinking, oh, I'm gonna just get this job right now, just to get like you don't go in, you don't
Why not think different than that?
because you're still your main focus is school. Your main focus is graduating. You're not focusing on your goal yet on what you want to do in life.
But why
Well,
not?
today
Because
wasn't the
you're
main
focusing-
focus.
because
Today the main focus was I'm getting ready to shoot. 5 people that did I'm gonna take myself out. What that look like at Ditmar?
That would be
Because-
crazy.
Negative.
Was it like at any
Yeah.
high school in Oceanside? It has not happened in the city of Oceanside.
Well,
Which I think is.
Wait, really?
There's been threats.
There's
But
been-
it hasn't happened. I think that to me,
Okay, but a
that's
threat
crazy.
is like it's gonna.
Well, but listen,
Actually, no. At South Elementary, I went there like my fourth grade year, and there was like a shooter on campus.
They like
They like, cause I was
it's a
there too.
lockdown.
I ain't never.
Same. The point
Makes
has
sense.
never been followed through it, and I think that's interesting because I feel like the outside perspective on Oceanside schools and Oceanside population and communities is you would think that this would be a place that would happen. As far as people
Next
that
question: why would you think that?
I don't think that.
You know what I'm saying? Why would you think people would think that? In
I
Oceanside?
just feel like outside communities, so I don't want to point anybody out, but like Carlsbad or areas that are predominantly white.
I would think it would happen more in that area.
See, I think that knowing of how we stigmatize the shooters, But I'm saying as far as like gang culture and what people stigmatize as gang culture, to me it would make more sense for it to happen.
It makes zero sense what you're saying. Let me tell you why. Because why would, if I'm gang banging, I'm not gonna bang. I think I'm gonna bring a gun to school and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this fool right here.
Oh no, it's happened. So
Really?
it happened at Oceanside and it's happened at Oakland.
Oh
People
yeah.
bring
Yeah,
guns to
people
school
get
every day.
people have been shot in front of Oceanside High School and in
Okay,
front of, but it was never a thing like.
Inside of school.
That's what I'm saying. It's
That's
never a
bad.
thing where I'm gonna bring a pistol inside class and as soon as the bell rings, I'm gonna
like-
shoot this dude. Like,
Nah, that's
on some
why.
gangbanging stuff. Like,
So that's
not
why
to say
I
that it
think
won't happen.
That's why I
but
think this is more of a mental, like I think the whole school shooting thing to me is more of a mental health, viewed as a mental health issue type of thing. And it does happen predominantly with white shooters. I don't know if I've ever seen a story where the shooter is a minority.
See, I don't like that. I don't like that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
if it's a
if that's
white
the
kid,
case-
it's a mental health issue.
No, that's
And
not what
if
I'm
it's a
saying.
man of color, it's just pure
No,
violence.
I
that's
think
not
it's
what
all
I'm.
mental health.
I'm
That's the
saying
thing.
that it needs to be addressed on all aspects as what you were talking about earlier, as a mental health issue. This is an issue outside of just someone's angry and going to shoot something up. This needs to be addressed. I think it's incorrect to say like, oh, if it's a white shooter, it's mental health, and if it's a black or Mexican shooter, it's a violence thing. I think that's completely wrong. But I'm saying, why are we addressing it as that? So why are we giving leeway to, I don't even know if the shooter was white, black, Mexican, I don't know. Do y'all know?
Well, see, that's just it. When you think about it from the city of Oceanside, if you ever think of a school shooting, we'll automatically think about the gangs. We're not going to think about the little white kid that's being bullied.
I do. I think I
talking
would
about
assume that it's
if-
a white person.
I'm talking about if it ever. What does a school shooting look like in Oceanside?
Oh, like if
We
it
would
was to happen-
automatically think it has something to do with gangs. Nowhere else has it been about gangs. It had just, like you would say, mental health or somebody being bullied or just a hate group that, like the trench coat mafia dudes out in, where was that at?
The trench coat.
Yeah, I don't think he was born when it happened.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. That's like that would pioneer all this school shootings. Some white kids.
Columbia, you're talking about the Columbia,
The Columbia, is it Columbia?
I can't remember.
That was like one of the first ones. Or Sandy Hook. No, that's not that one.
No, these kids put on these trench
I
coats
think that was Columbia.
and they had it was like 6
Oh,
or
the
7 of
rifles.
them,
They had the rifles.
and it was nasty.
It was a massacre.
Yeah. that was
No, but I
one of the-
second what you say. I mean, honestly, in Oceanside, like right now, well, I can't say right now because it's after school hours, but if we were to hear, if that was to have happened in Oceanside, if it happened at Oceanside High School, individuals would first think, probably in their minds, Crown Heights, East Side, right? Shooting at Oceanside High School, Crown Heights, East Side. Then, depending on who got shot and how many people got shot would determine who actually were the shooters. If it was neither, most likely it would be one of those situations where it would have been someone that was being bullied. But to second your opinion, I think ultimately a person with it at El Camino, you know what I'm saying? Valley, Mesa, like, it would be, you would think that first, and then it's like, oh, well, didn't Samoans get shot or didn't Hispanics get shot, then ultimately, just because of the history of Oceanside,
Right.
oh, now this stuff has trickled into Oceanside and people. But the thing about the culture of Oceanside is in each neighborhood, you gonna get bullied in the neighborhood most likely more than you gonna get bullied at school. By the time you get to school, you're already desensitized and the bullying ain't gonna really take place there. So I mean, I would think, and then that actually I think ties these other races in to the predominantly Hispanic Samoan. I know in our days, predominantly Hispanic, Black, and Samoan cultures, the kids that were getting bullied ultimately embraced the bullies and became a part of the gang.
Right. Can't beat them, join.
Join them. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, because I mean, there's some tough white boys out here.
So, but that's what
Some tough Asians out here.
That's
Some
what you
tough-
kind of described about me, though.
I mean,
So you trying to say that because I couldn't beat him, I joined him?
you said that.
You said
I didn't
that.
say that.
You said that.
I said I think you was trying to describe me.
No, I
he
just said I
wasn't.
second your point.
He said he was.
No, I
Do y'all
But
think
then-
that this is something that ever would happen at school?
No.
Yeah, but and so I heard Tim say that he don't think that ever happened. I heard him just say he don't think it'll ever happen.
I believe it could happen.
It could happen.
Like,
Well, we know it could. It could happen
It
anyway.
could happen anywhere, but,
But-
the
but watch
chances
this.
of it happening.
One of the parents from what is it, Santa Clarita, said they never expected for something like this to ever happen at their high school.
Does anyone really
How
know?
many parents
Like,
said that though? Was that just one?
That's what I'm saying. Does
So-
anybody
so
ever
when
think
we
this
say
will
that,
happen?
What are we actually saying?
The same
Because
thing
we're
that
saying
they
the
said?
same thing that they said and then it happened. Now everybody is shocked. But when we look
Because
at
I
the
feel like-
culture in Oceanside, how does that shock you? Because it happens on the streets. At least
I'm more surprised that it hasn't happened, to be honest.
honestly, like,
That's really where my mind is. I'm more surprised that it has not gone down yet. But I guess it's kind of like a give and take thing, because a lot of things that happen on our streets outside of the school, other neighborhoods would be like surprised if that happened there. Does that make sense? Like they would
I
be,
hear what you're saying. And my question is are you expecting a school shooting?
yeah,
No.
kind of.
well, like
Based off
one
of-
day, but like,
What is this
the
based
heck?
off of? Other school shootings or?
Just
I'm
the
gonna be
fact.
honest, man. I just think in the culture of Oceanside, especially how the demographic is just changing. These days, let's just be honest, man. That just it's not gonna happen in Hispanic culture. In Oceanside alone,
Right.
the Hispanic culture has tripled over the last 10 years.
I
So when
think
you look at honestly, the Hispanics out here ain't with the. I mean, yeah, there is the little bitty, but
well,
ain't
there's
no
rules to this.
right. But it ain't no major bullying though going
There's-
on.
there's-
I mean,
I don't
I'm not
think-
in
I don't-
school.
rules to this.
I
Do
don't
y'all
think that it
do y'all
would
see
be
a lot
a-
of bullying going on in your school, like towards other races?
I mean, like honestly, at Oceanside High, you're like with the group. Like everyone has their own group.
Yeah.
Like that's just how. And then there's like certain people that mingle around.
Not
Like
everyone has a group. Something.
that's what I'm saying. Like everyone has a group, but if you don't, you're just like there. And like I have seen bullying happen, but like not like push him down, take his. Ooh, my bad. No profanity. But
Beep.
We have a generational thing that's been taking place out here. I know it probably jumped from someone's reality to our reality when we were younger, but we used to ride around after school hours and hop out on kids at the bus stop.
Oh, that
That's what I was
I've
happened.
seen that.
That happened.
That's
I've seen
normal.
specifically one day.
For real.
The Valley pulled up at Vista High School. And
Timothy hopped out.
I ain't saying who it was. I just saw a car pull up and I identified all four people that was in the car. I knew exactly who they was. And I saw the gang signs and everything thrown up. I seen the car pull back around, go back up the hill and come back and pull into the school. I seen that. I seen
Like drive into the school,
drive into the school.
like parking lot.
I don't think they realized how many Vista homeboys that came up out of there. But they sure tried to get that car up out of there that day. I saw the window get busted. Saw the window get busted.
Did anyone get shot?
And no, ain't nobody get shot. Not that day. Not that day.
Yeah.
But there was, it stemmed from it. I don't need to get all into the history of it, but it stemmed from it. That easily could have escalated into, because, back in the 90s, Deep Valley Crips, they was on the map for shootings. They was on the map for shootings. It was no ifs, ands, or buts. That's how it was. And so it could have easily popped off right then. But it didn't. But I really think because there's rules to this.
Yeah, it is.
You just don't. I think in the Oceanside culture, You just, I don't care where you from. You don't bring no gun on campus and start blasting everybody or, you know, your enemy. So you're just not going to say it could happen. I just don't think it'll be anything to have to do with gang-related activity.
But I think on the flip side, if it was going to happen, it would be in result to one of these kids that, because I was speaking about kids that didn't gangbang, but we were just looking for a quick come up. So people would hop out, and it would be this person's turn to go do what they had to do and get what you could out the person's pockets, get back in the car, and we get on. This kid's going to see us at school the next day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know that takes place today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that there's kids that will snatch quick, you know what I'm saying, off campus, something from another kid. This kid has to see this group at school the next day. If it happens, it's likely to happen as a result of that. But the likelihood of it, it's been happening for so long. I think social media has even more of something to do with, because everything that's caught on camera, you get to look at it over and over and over and over and over again. You get to live through it over and over and over and over and over again. So it's like, ultimately, people are laughing at you, and you feel like the only way to actually erase it is to erase the people that put it out there and erase yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That seems like that's what's driving this culture of these shootings these days. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it wasn't like that back then because we didn't have this. But I think if it was to happen in Oceanside, it would be in direct result to
like more of like a direct, like I can see it happening as like a direct rivalry as far as like what you guys are talking about. What I'm hearing is like a direct rivalry, whereas other like this sounds
but not
like
between gangs though. Right?
No, just in general,
Well,
like what you're talking about. But this was more of like, and all the ones that I read about are like just randomized. Like, I'm just mad, I'm gonna go in, I'm mad at everybody who's bullying me, and I'm just gonna shoot. It's not like he had a clear target. It's not like he had a list of these 5 specific people. He just pulled it out. Well, I mean, not yet, but from what it sounds like,
Yeah,
so
I remember
16th birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well,
that.
And he chose
planned
that
out.
particular class.
Even at middle school, there was a kid, I don't know who it was, but they found his like shooting list or whatever, and it had like 10 kids. It was at Lincoln. And I knew who the kid was. I just don't remember.
it wasn't a hit list. They said it was a hit list. It wasn't a hit list though. So I just wanna.
Well,
What was it?
Now watch this. In Escondido.
Thought we were talking about Oceanside.
Okay, but Escondido.
But we're not in Escondido.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with what
So we don't have
school
no-
shooting? We're talking about Santa Clarita. Stop trying to argue something you have no argument for.
Whatever.
What I'm talking about is the dynamics behind when you say gangs. Now you got taggers who play by a different set of rules.
That don't care.
Well, there's already a dead body.
Well,
And 13 teens locked up by it.
that's what I'm saying.
And they're not gangbangers, they taggers.
That's what I'm saying. They don't care. They don't have rules. There is no rules.
So what does a shooting look like there?
It's
You
messy.
can't just say that there. Are you saying like there's no gangs in Escondido? There's just graffitiers.
No, he's saying he's talking about
He's
the
saying,
murder
what,
that
you
just happened
asking
and
what
there was
does it
terror
look
involved.
like what does it look like in
Honestly,
different areas?
To them,
different-
it looks like anyone could get hit. Like,
Because they don't play by no rules.
that's what I'm saying. Anyone
And you
could
got
get hit.
taggers who don't portray to be gangbangers that's banging and don't know they banging. In Escondido, they ain't really, at some point they wasn't even taking them serious. But I think they got a few people attention now.
So wait, what do you tag if you're not
Basically,
tagging a gang?
You
like,
get a name, or there's like hella tagging.
You don't
photos.
get a name.
No, you make a name,
You
or
come with your name.
So I thought
No, like,
tagging.
You just make up your own name on
yeah,
it.
you just make up your
Look,
own
y'all
name, but you
gotta
can go.
understand too, man. Like y'all talking about, when y'all talking about taggers, y'all talking about the majority of the time, it's a lot of the offspring of active gang members.
Oh,
That
so
just
what-
don't want to gangbang.
So okay, I'm trying to be clear. Hold on.
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
so
Listen, when you graffiti,
Oceanside
you
OSK
get a name,
was
you
active
get a
too.
name, and then there's like proof.
It was
there's proof,
Oceanside
there's,
Kings.
like,
Right.
Them dudes was.
There's
I got hopped out
like,
on one
there's-
time. At
I know
point
a
blank.
couple, but like I forgot their names. But like I know a couple, and basically
I'm
like
just
you
confused.
do.
What are you tagging if you're not part of the gang?
You're just
You
tagging
claim your
name.
spot.
Man,
You
it's
just
a
claim your
gang.
spot, I guess.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. It's a gang, right?
it is
But
because like
it's not.
let's say I hit up right here and someone goes and like
Because
crosses
you're
it
trying to
out.
mark your territory, so
Look,
you're a gang, right?
This is
I
like
guess so.
this has
But,
been
like,
traditionally in
different. That's
Oceanside.
weird.
I've seen it happen just like this. Skate, tag, you click, you gangbang. Like those are those skating
Wait,
skating
did you
groups.
skate?
Huh? I skated.
You know how to skate? Do you know how to skate?
I don't know how to skate as good as I used to.
One of the best ones. I used to
Shut up.
Knock it off, Pastor
Let me
Larry.
see.
Hey,
Who got a
Hey,
skateboard?
man,
I got a skateboard right now.
I remember I used to bodyboard.
I used to bodyboard too.
In fact,
And,
I was in the
without the-
bodyboard
it's
magazine when the Mach SS first came out. I was the one that
The one
introduced it.
without the.
I never skated.
You just go on
It's
the
just
way.
that board, the one we take
Used to
zoos.
be every summer at the aquatics camp downtown Oceanside at the pier.
Look,
Before
you find out new
it
things
became the police
every
station.
day.
Like
It was
this,
a aquatic
See
camp.
this.
like this is one.
Really?
Yeah.
TKO.
How long ago was it?
And you like when
Late
if they
80s.
want to see whose artwork is like the best, and if it's like if you qualify, then you're in it, and then
So you're in a game.
No, you're
I
not.
use your microphone so we can
Because
hear.
it's not.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a gang, but
That's not a gang.
this
It's
is
a
what I'm
gang, but
saying,
not a
man. Because
gang.
you're saying a gang like you're
I'm just-
saying. Look it, man. You saying a gang like Mesa or the Valley. I'm talking about a gang in the definition of what the police identify you as a gang. You know what I'm saying? Which is, I'm not saying even the police. I'm just saying like it's where two or more gather as a group.
Isn't that church?
What is
No,
it?
that's where two or more are gathered in the name of the Lord. He gonna hear what you got to say. But I'm talking about something else. I mean, he's gonna hear you outside of that as well. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying this specifically said where two or more gathered. But I'm talking about the definition. You look at the definition for a gang.
It's an organized crime.
No, organized
All right,
crime is
let's
organized
see.
crime.
Oh well, the gang is like.
it says
I don't know what a gang.
We getting way off topic, guys.
no or not.
I'm just kidding. I'm confused on what a tagger
So-
is.
An organized group
An
of
organized
criminals.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And like it is still you're still like
What is the
if
other
you
definition?
A set of switches,
The
sockets, and
sockets.
other electrical mechanical devices grouped together.
no, cause like I could see how they could say like oh graffiti group is, cause like they're not criminals but they are tagging. They're like doing stuff to property, right? Like doesn't like that's a law.
I
Like
don't know. They just killed someone in
Kill-
Escondido.
kill-
So killed.
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 Not the
Shut up.
one that's mad. They got to go to school all year now.
Wait, what
6
I'm
hours, and now you
confused
mad
now.
and trying to correct people's grammar. You do look like some kind of
Wait, you're talking about me?
literature teacher now. Look at you.
Look at you, Pastor Larry. Come on now.
So what does it look like
Wait,
too?
is killed not a
And you
word?
got if you got
Killed is
these
not a word.
gangs,
It's a word for
if you
us.
got these gangs who don't recognize taggers as a gang, right? But now you beefing with them. What that look like? What does that look like from your hood
It looked
perspective?
confused.
That your hood is beefing with a tagging crew.
They don't beef with tagging crews. It's like they're there, but they don't even exist.
Man, I know in our day.
They exist when they kill people.
I mean, there's just a reality, man. Like I said, you can assume that
The tagging crew in Oceanside back in the day.
OSK was kids that didn't want to be from Mesa and came from the offspring of individuals that were, originally rooted from Oceanside, and just didn't want to gangbang.
Right.
And so there's a difference between gangbanging and tagging, but you're not just gonna run up on me
Right.
or be tripping and we're not gonna fight just because y'all are who you are. And that's just the reality. Or like the situation happened in Escondido. The details are kind of crazy. Like I've been just hearing things here and there. And the reason why what was done supposedly, it's like, it has nothing to do with gangbanging. You know what I'm saying? It had everything to
Right.
do with.
But why? I mean, they carrying spray paint and markers. Now they
Not
carrying
again.
spray paint, markers, guns, knives, and hammers.
No, they've
What
been
are we
carrying
talking
guns
about?
and knives.
What
The
for?
Santa Claus.
What for?
No.
Why is
Man, did you
tagging
see?
violent?
Listen, man, did you
Oh
see?
my
You seen them
gosh.
old movies we came up watching? What's the movies that they made in New York? Them tagging crews,
Right,
beating
right.
up on each other, stabbing each other,
Right.
because people marking over each other's territories and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
It's not a gang though, but it's like if you're gonna disrespect me, I'm gonna disrespect you. You're not just gonna be beating my boy up. We're gonna come back and we're gonna mimic what we see actually happening in our area, like what gets people's attention. You know what I'm saying? Like these individuals, when they get into it with these individuals, they knock these individuals down, then it's quiet. We're gonna do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I think on many levels. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that's what an individual is gonna do to get a person's attention or another group's attention.
How do we raise awareness in the city of Oceanside that a school shooting can happen in our own neck of the woods? How do we raise awareness to be preventative toward these measures? What do we do? Because we don't want to be, knowing that we think that it won't happen, we know that it could, because where people thought that it wouldn't happen, it has.
Yeah.
So what can we do to prevent and raise awareness that school shootings happens by surprise? It catches us by surprise. What can we do to raise awareness and to discuss these things, bring it into the schools, and what do we do? How do we
Hey,
start?
is Santa Clarita, is that like a gang? Is that a ganger? I mean, I'm pretty.
Santa Clarita?
I think it's like it's like what, 40 miles outside of LA.
Oh,
And I think Santa Clarita is known for a Spanish gang out there. But this wasn't a gang related
I
incident.
know
Again,
that. I'm just saying, like, where were the schools located at? Was it
Not
located
sure.
I think
in
it's like-
suburbia?
I honestly
I think it's
feel-
suburban. I don't think it's super like.
To be honest, I don't think you could prevent that. Like,
Yeah, unless you
like-
get like
like-
securities at
No,
the
no,
front
no.
door.
It's
patting
not.
you
It's
like,
not even
wow.
that. It's not even that. It's like you're not gonna see anything.
sign.
You're not gonna see it coming.
It just happens.
What could we really do? We can't do much
We
about
just
it.
saying, how do you raise awareness though? Like, what would you suggest?
What, talk about it? Like,
Honestly, I can't suggest nothing. It's
me
like,
either.
like
That would work.
it doesn't even have to be a kid that's being bullied. You just never know nowadays. It's like you could be the normalest, nicest kid walking to school every day with a smile, and then boom, you wake up one day and you're just shooting the school, and you just
no, you don't just wake up one day and just start to shoot up your school.
you never know.
No, you
don't.
You don't just wake up one day and decide this is the day I'm gonna shoot up the school.
But that's
You-
possible.
It's possible.
It's possible.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's coming from kids. So
That's what I'm saying.
It's something to take
If
into
I'm saying it,
consideration.
like, why are you gonna argue with me if I'm a kid? I'm saying.
Give me an example of a kid who just wakes up and said, I'm gonna shoot the school
How
up
do we
today.
know? We don't know.
Give me the example.
Exactly. That's what
We don't know.
I'm not gonna give
We
you
don't
an
know
example
if
because
it was
there
ever
is no
pre-planned.
example.
No, you said that this can happen. I want to know
Okay.
how this
It
can happen.
can,
I'm
because
telling you
just
how it could
any
happen,
natural
I'm not saying
person
it's
just
good.
could have that idea.
Hold on. Let's he's trying to argue.
How do we don't know? We don't know.
No, you make a claim that
Anybody
Okay,
can
so I'll
wake up
give an
and be
example.
all like,
I'll give an example right now. This boy.
no,
that
I want to hear
just-
from them.
But no,
Oh,
I
so
can
you-
talk. I can talk because I agree. Like we don't know what this. We don't know if this boy pre-planned this. He could have just woken up and been like, "I'm over this, and I'm gonna
Over
go."
what?
Whatever his issue was that
Right.
made him want to go shoot the school. That doesn't. Yeah, the issues might have been
So-
leading up to this, but that doesn't mean he planned to go shoot. Like he could have woke up that morning and been like,
I'm
"All
over
right,
it."
I'm about to do this."
Yeah.
I'm over what?
Whatever
Over it
he was
is.
going
Do we know
Right,
the
right.
kid?
So,
No.
so there's a reason why he did it.
a reason that he ended up doing it, that doesn't mean that
Right,
he
I agree.
premeditated or planned. So yeah, you could very well, just like somebody could very well wake up in
No,
the
no,
morning
they're
and
saying, what I'm hearing them say is that there's no reason, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, you never know nowadays.
oh, that's not what I heard. I heard that they
No,
said,
that's
Well,
what I'm
I'm
trying to
thinking-
say.
That's what he's saying.
That's
Well,
what
I'm
I'm saying.
saying-
Like, like, there's no reason,
Oh, no,
and
I
I've
don't
been picking
agree
on
with
me,
that,
ain't nothing going wrong in my life, I just wake up one morning, I'm gonna shoot the school.
well, I mean, like, you could be like possessed.
You
with it,
never
but
know. You never know.
at the end of the day, like, there could just be those chances. Like, people can have those
mental. I mean,
mental
you can snap.
illnesses. Like, you can't
You can
snap
snap.
over
That's
like
a
a
reason.
little thing.
That's a
But,
reason
but
why,
not a
I mean, he messed
premeditated,
up.
not
I
a
mean,
premeditated reason. No,
okay.
like you
So,
can you
I
can
think
just
I
wake
get- I
up
get
and
you.
something
I think
and
I-
something's like something snap. People do have those like. They
Right.
just wake up and they're different. Same with like suicide. You could wake up. Most of the time it's pre-planned or premeditated, but
Right.
some days you just could wake up and be over it, and that seems like the good thing to do in that.
So what do
moment.
we do from there? I mean, how do you, what preventative measures do you take to, you know, just raise awareness that, you know, it's these kind of people? And then how do you
It could
reach
be
out to
anybody.
these type of people?
Increase the peace.
Okay.
I mean, where do you start?
Gotta increase the priest and raise the praise.
I think it's kind of the same. At least from my perspective, all the issues that we talk about. To me, it seems like it's the same kind of answer to those questions with any topic. Is like addressing the deep, like the roots of where these things are coming from, addressing the same as with addiction or gangbanging or whatever. Where is this coming from? Where are the roots coming from? Addressing and identifying that versus saying like, oh, well, school shootings can happen, because we know that they can happen because people see them on the news. If you want to say and continue to say like, oh, it can't happen here, then that's just their
it could happen.
them being naive. But I feel like if we can address the issues that we feel are causing these things, people feeling isolated, people mental health, bullying, all of these things, those are the, to me, the root causes of where this stuff is coming from. How do we figure out the dynamics of what's going on at home? Like y'all talked about earlier, why do people not feel like they can go home and tell their parents what's going on? Get support from their parents. So I feel like in order to even try to put a dent in any of this kind of stuff, including school shooting, we have to figure out how to talk about the root causes.
Right. What I'm saying is, what I mean like raise awareness. Resilience is a mentorship program. Before resilience, the same youth that was here was going at each other on the street. Now the youth that are here at least can tolerate each other and sit in the same circle and speak on restorative things. We can go out to different different places and not be. It will shock us today to see rival gangs get in a fight here, because we've developed some type of relationship to where at least they respect each other enough while they're here.
Well,
Right.
it's also like, well, you
So-
can't do nothing here. It's for
You
like,
can do it.
No, you can do
Good
it
if you want to.
because it done went down.
Yeah, it's happened before.
It's
You
just
know,
a thing
so-
of respect that we have here. It's like,
Right. So how does that look on a school campus? See, a lot of times you see these school shootings that happen, it's because these kids go to school, they get bullied or whatever, and maybe it's not even a school problem. Maybe it is they going home and it's happening at home, and next thing you know, they bringing the problems at home to school, somebody aggravated them, they, type of things like that. So in other words, they're going to school, they're not getting the help they need.
Which then is a school
And
problem.
well, if it's happening at home and they're not getting the help they need, why would you blame the school?
I'm not blaming. I don't think we should blame the school. I'm just saying any
You said it's a school problem.
Well, any child that has a problem is a part of the school's problem, because I feel like they're not giving the proper support. To
How
that
do you
student.
give the support if you don't know that it's existing?
honestly, I think we had talked about this already, but that one incident where the teacher took away the gun from the school, or yeah, remember that?
The coach.
The basketball coach took away the shotgun or whatever from the
Right.
school shooter
Hugged the kid.
and hugged the kid.
Applaud him, man.
Yeah.
Hero.
And like, he was a school shooter just like this other kids.
Right.
Imagine the teacher was like,
Oh,
imagine
is
it,
this that recent? The
Right.
recent
Yeah.
story? Oh, okay.
and imagine if there was more teachers like that could be there for us. And I think
No, imagine there was more shooters like that. Because
No,
this shooter today, ain't no hugging him.
why imagine more shooters like that when we could have more teachers that are kind enough to like.
Like preventative.
Exactly.
even
So,
things.
with that.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I was trying to get.
Okay.
It's like
So do you
That's
need a
great.
hug?
That's
You want a
great.
hug, Tony?
So with what you said, these are things that can help prevent these type of issues.
Yeah,
That's
because
a good
I've
point.
gotten in fights with my teachers before. It's
Right.
like, damn, like,
Makes you want to shoot
teachers
one
have
of them.
like,
nah.
I
No.
swear, like
Wait.
I like what he's saying, because like at the end of the day, I mean, my teacher, Miss P, she's cool. She's cool. It's like
Right.
she's there for me.
Yo,
She-
shout out
any-
Miss P.
Miss P. And what is it though? Like other teachers, they just want to get done with their work and like, cause they
And
have
you guys
to do
can
all
tell
this.
that, right? Like you could tell that.
Yeah,
kind of
you can
difference.
still tell the difference, because teachers really be like swearing they get this type of respect when they're like mean as hell. Ooh.
Right. So, at Ditmar, you're getting ready to run restorative circles, and you're trying to implement it there. Would you say that's one of the things that help prevent these, that can help?
I think it's a definite step in the right direction.
Right.
I don't think
Why ain't more and more schools doing something like this? Having some kind of implementing. See, we have the Black Student Union, and we got the Hispanic this, and the Latino that, and we got, the Bible, the Christian club, and the Muslim club. But what about the club for the one that's being bullied? What about a place where one can express some difficulties that's going on at school? About the kid that can't afford lunch at school and can't get a dinner at home, and they're always coming to school. What about the family that's homeless, but the kids still go to school? You know, I ran into a family like that. I ran into a family where every morning on Monday mornings, my church go out to the transit center and we serve coffee and donuts every Monday morning. And there's one family that always comes. They live in their car, but they come and they park their car there. They eat donuts and drink coffee with us there, and then they take their kids to school. That's how they get their breakfast on Monday mornings. That kid grows up. Unfortunately, I don't think the kids that are in this particular family is they're like 5 and 6, 7 years old, whatever, and I don't believe they really understand the extremity of their situation. But let's fast forward, and these kids are 14, 15 now, and they're in this same situation. Now they have to eat donuts here and live out of their car, and then they go to school. What program do we have for that kid? How does something that go on in his life, how did he go back and explain to his mother what's going on? Father's locked up, mother is homeless, living out the car with 2 kids.
Well, also I feel like too, when that stuff happens, you can't really tell no one because then CPS will get involved. Like, oh, this is not a safe place for your kid, blah 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 blah.
That's a true point. Although you
This
can't
ain't even a CPS issue. If this the case, there'd be a whole lot of CPS workers at these shelters.
But
I
think what she's trying to say, at least what I would think too, is that as a child, even as a 13, 14, 15-year-old, the way that the system is portrayed to us and the way that the system is set up and the lack of support and
understanding
or even explanation of how the system works.
Yeah.
Like you can't get your kids taken away for being homeless. You can get your kids taken away for neglect. There's a difference. But I think kids are so scared to talk to authority figures that are supposed to be in a place to help us, CPS, law enforcement, whatever that is. So that they don't know, they don't feel safe going to a counselor saying like, this is what's going on with me, because they don't want to get taken from their parents, and that's a problem right there. And a gap is the lack of a disconnect in kids even understanding what their support looks like.
Right. So 1 minute or less. 1 minute or less. What else other than restorative circles and more teachers that could or have some type of restorative measures and practices that they have, what else could we bring to the schools to raise awareness of not just to stop school shootings, but the bullying? All we have is these policies. There's a no bullying policy, you automatically get suspended.
You know what I think? I think the city, like, it's hard for us to, eventually I think we'll get to a point where we'll be able to, resilience especially, but I think, what do you call them people that sit above Oceanside, that sit on them seats?
City council?
City council, and everybody that has certain types of funding, you know what I'm saying, should actually push that stuff towards a lot of like arts type of stuff.
Right.
To actually give the opportunity for the communities to come together and express these issues through an art form.
Right.
That's specifically aimed at the youth though, you know what I'm saying, whether it's plays, whether it's script writing, whether it's music, whether it's poetry, whether it's like art, you know what I'm saying, that you draw and paint.
Exactly.
I think that would help.
Resilience Radio, man, we out of here. We'll be back at you next Thursday at 4:30 Pacific time.
Specific time or Pacific?
Specific in.
Pacific Standard Time.
Specifically Pacific time.
Right. This is Larry. I'm out of here with
Tony.
my boy Tony.
Julianne,
Drama Queen.
knock it
Julianne,
off.
Big Tim. Ain't nothing big about me. And Jamie. We out.
Resilience Radio. Oceanside's most wanted evening show every Thursday, 4:30 p.m. on the Pacific Coast.